weeks we have to do a review, performance review of the police chief, the superintendent of the DPW, and our town administrator. I have removed a performance review of our town clerk in light of the fact that she will be
Will you feel Dan?
resigning. Wait. All right. I believe we've done the performance reviews of the police personnel and the staff of the DPW. Am I correct, Mr. Brown? Okay. We've gotten the EMS Building Lessons Learned Task Force Committee on their way. We've got together the 4 new committees, are up and running. We started the work on the land disturbance ordinance. We had the presentation by the middle schooler. We interviewed candidates for lieutenant. We introduced our budgets. We had the K-8 presentation. We had the high school presentation. We've made a decision on the superintendent of DPW. Made a decision on a patrol officer. We have to make a decision in the next couple of weeks on where we're going to go with municipal staff salaries. We'd like to make some executive session minutes public. That's behind us. We have moved on the Randolph India Brook Park diversion application. That's in progress. We've made the appointments to the historian, prosecutor, public defender, risk manager, auditor, engineer, Board of Adjustment, Board of Health, Environmental Commission, Historic Preservation. I believe there's some openings still on the Open Space Committee and one on the Planning Board. We made the appointment to the Safety Committee, the Tree Protection Committee, TV 25, Recreation Commission. We reviewed the holidays for 2011. We reviewed the hours for the Violations Bureau. We reviewed the LoSAP ordinance with the Township Committee and the Finance Committee. We reviewed the office hours for municipal staff. We settled the police contract. I believe, Mr. Mills, we did settle Tilcon versus Mendham Township, or is that still ongoing? Tilcon versus Mendham Township?
Still ongoing. It's
still ongoing.
Petition to the Supreme Court at the moment.
And is Wells Fargo versus Mazzo et al., which includes us, still ongoing?
It's still ongoing, but I'm only monitoring. There's no activity. It has not trolled its way through the sheriff's foreclosure list.
You mentioned that we have, Steve, is that correct? We have openings in the Open Space Committee, Planning Board, and Safety?
Safety we're good. Planning Board, I think they have an opening, and I believe you may have one opening on Open Space as well.
And I believe we wanted to add to Pitney, and I wanted, are these located on the town website?
Yes.
Okay. I think that we're still looking for people who want to be involved with Pitney property. We, as we said at the last meeting, we appointed people that we knew were interested. So,
we do have a number of other applications to be involved that we did not discuss this week.
And
there were other people.
And Mr. Blood asked me to remove his name.
Okay, but there were others.
Right. We also were asked by the Environmental Commission to move Ms. Schmerler up to a permanent position and to approve Ms. Hartzler to a position of alternate, correct?
I hadn't heard that.
Tanya resigned.
Yes.
Okay, and it left an opening on the Environmental Commission, and then we got a letter a few months ago from Mr. Rhodes asking us to elevate Ms. Schmerler to a permanent position and to Ms. Hartzler as a alternate position. I think we'll discuss that under old business when we get there.
Also, on your things to do list, I believe we had a process earlier in the year of reviewing the committee organizations and considering reorganizing some of them. I don't see that on your list here.
Yes.
I think we should put it on and we need to move forward on that.
Is there anything else we're missing, Mr. Mountain, that you know of at the moment?
Okay, I saw him.
Okay, so we know what we've got to do in the next 3 months. Okay, we have received some letters with drainage issues. I believe, Mr. Mountain, you folks at our engineering firm is going to look at them and give us a report.
That's correct. The engineer is involved in both cases. Meeting is happening in the next week on the residence along West Main Street. And the other matter, I believe he is going to be sending a memo to you summarizing where things stand at this point. I've seen the draft. It should be forthcoming this week.
We'll look forward to getting that.
Mayor, on correspondence, I received a letter from a resident concerned about hunting in one of our parks, and we saw a tree stand. And I think the tree stand probably was put up by one of the authorized hunters from our group. So I've asked Mr. Mallon to go meet with the individual and discuss it and check it out and make sure it is legitimate tree stand.
All right, is there anything else we need to discuss?
We were going to, as a discussion item, discuss the dog ordinance.
Oh, that's right.
Well, it's listed under.
Inasmuch as Mr. Merck and Mrs. Thomas are not here this evening, and in deference to having them here so we have a full committee on an ordinance, we thought we would move the ordinance to discussion and hold it until we have the full complement of committee members. So I'll open that up for any discussion. Mr. Thomas?
You know, I've reviewed the ordinance. I have some concerns about it. I am not a fan of passing ordinances for a singular problem. I would like to have more background information of a broad-based problem with property owners having dogs in this community. If we have a single problem, that needs to be addressed in my mind in another fashion. I understand the value of ordinances, but I also know the danger of ordinances. Pass a lot of things that are unnecessary, and all of a sudden we're being told we can and can't do just because someone's acting like a jerk someplace else in town. So I do think we want to be careful, and I'm not saying that the attorney has not been careful in this process. I think there's been some good input. I'm not privy to all of it, but I do think that we want to pass ordinances carefully and to address a broad-based problem, not a single problem. Thank you.
Well, my understanding of this, this is not drafted for a singular problem. Over the years, we've had many discussions on the township committee about numbers of horses, numbers of cows, numbers of whatever people can keep on their property. And this is just possibly nibbling around the edges of this, but I think the idea of it is to preclude problems in the future. I don't see, reading it over, I don't see where this would be onerous on most people, because I don't know many people that have more than 4 or 5 dogs, unless they're doing something more than having household pets. But I'd like to get the input from the other members of the committee and get the input from the counselor on how he thinks this would work for our advantage. We can judge better.
We do have some input from Mr. Haney that should be taken into consideration by the committee in deliberating the value or lack thereof of the dog ordinance. So I second the, well, I can't legally, but I second the concept of carrying it for further consideration and discussion. And I would invite the mayor to ask any of the residents who wish to obtain a copy of it so we can have some information submitted from that quarter as well.
Maybe Mr. Colley, you might want to speak with Mr. Haney to see what his comments are.
I'd be delighted to. I find Russ to be a very intelligent person, a lot of good insight.
Of course, we'd like to hear from the public on that too.
One more item.
Yes.
That would be, I just want to update the public on the bridges. We're still trying to meet on a preliminary basis on the bridge in the center of town. And Steve and I will be meeting on separate bridge issues prior to coming to any public discussion on Schoolhouse Lane. We have not formalized a date yet, but it should be soon. So my hope is that on that point, we'll have public hearings. And we'll try and make sure people are aware of them in advance later this year. I don't know what their delay time is, but on the center of Brookside, I'm not really sure what the delay is there.
Well, that one is It's a longer lead time to begin with because they're at the first stage, not the last stage, but also I understand with the number of bridges that were compromised by Irene County, their resources were moved to look at those emergent situations and try to put their planning process on some of the longer range projects back a little. I have been in contact with them asking for another date, and we're hoping to set one up in the next couple of weeks.
So we'll try and keep you aware of what's coming along with those, so you have plenty of opportunity to be involved in the process to hopefully end up with a good solution in both these cases.